This is going to be a controversial video because I'm going to speak about Israel, which is like poking a black bear's behind with a fork during picnic season. Hey, boo-boo. What Ranger Smith does not know will not hurt him either. Hey! But there are some points to be made regardless. First, on Israel's right to exist. Point 1. This is a sleight of hand that deliberately confuses the state of Israel with the Jewish people and their indisputable right to exist. There should be no question of that, no game playing, no confusing of issues here. But Israel is a state. It's not the Jewish people. It's not a Messiah. As a secularist myself, I don't believe in the divine right of anyone's government. Governments are made of, by, and for people. They are instruments of human will to serve their needs, not to be worshipped as holy vessels for their own sakes. By criticizing Israel, you're made to feel as if you're attacking the Jewish people as such, so that you're an objective Nazi, even if you happen to be a Jew yourself. Okay? And of course that's nonsense. To say nothing of drivel. The Jewish people existed long before the state of Israel and, should the latter pass away, will undoubtedly continue to exist in the world as Jews. Jews are the one irreducible human group whose religion and traditions will never fully boil down in anyone's melting pot, hence the rage of Hitler's final solution. Point 2. The state of Israel could not then and does not now guarantee security for the world's Jews. Israel, if it had then existed, could not have stopped Hitler, nor could it have accommodated hundreds of thousands of refugees within the borders of the former Palestine Mandate, even at the farthest claims of revisionism. It could not and cannot guarantee such safety because, besides its small area, it has never been self-sustaining. It has always been, and is now, dependent on outside subsidy from the get-go. From the charity of the Rothschild banking family, the British Empire, Jewish communities and congregations around the world, and latterly the U.S. taxpayer. Pull any of these plugs at any time in Zionist or Israeli history and the whole project slides into the Mediterranean and floats off into the diaspora. It's a dream others have paid for who do not live there. The Holy Land has become a highly entailed and overvalued piece of real estate that only massive bailouts have kept from foreclosure. Third point. Zionism is the next 20th century god to fail because it has never reconciled itself to the fact that it is not a part of Europe, not the 51st state of the U.S., but is located in the Middle East. It's like moving into a black neighborhood, evicting a family from one house on the block because you got a higher court to recognize some ancestral claim, and then defying the other homies to do something about it. So what's the problem? You people have all the rest of the houses on the block, so just take your relatives in. Well, for one thing, of course, this overlooks the fact that no one likes having destitute relatives move in uninvited. A point completely lost here. The whole Zionist project started off on the wrong foot, and that will undoubtedly be its ultimate downfall. But ironically, in its defiance, Israel adopts the worst characteristics of its neighbors, so that relatives outside sometimes can't even recognize the family connection. This is why, point 4, Israel's worst enemy is ultimately itself. Why it is becoming an unsustainable enterprise as now constituted. Trying to destroy Israel is a pipe dream that would unleash World War III. But Israel is poised to self-destruct given its internal tensions within the occupied territories, between Israel and the rest of its neighbors, between Jews themselves, religious Jews, and the concept of Israel as a democratic state. As Israel refuses to come to real bilateral agreements with its neighbors and Palestinians, and is taken over by militant fundamentalists, it risks losing the very Westernness and democracy so essential in the propaganda of subsidy. It will become harder for the U.S. to continue supporting a state and society that differs from Iran's only by denomination of faith and currency, not the values thereof. As the Western economies dive to the bottom, there will be great pressure to cut back on everything not essential to the home budget, and the condo in Tel Aviv will definitely be one of them. The Jews are supposed to be running the banks and Wall Street. Well, I've never heard of any Jewish lobby and all his millions and minions that ever staved off financial collapse. Time for Israel to wake up and face having to pay its own way in the world if it wants to survive to be 100. Canuck on the phone. Hey, boo. Wonder if that's Ranger Smith. Hello? Aflac. Oh, APAC. Calling for pledge renewals? Let me give you the number of the local IRS office, because I gave there. Hello? Guess they didn't want to hear that.